Lights out at TNA Rebellion as a twist of fate become upon the world champion. We're going to get into that all and a lot more right now on the channel. And first things first, TNA delivered a hell of a pay-per-view or a premium live event, whatever you want to call it these days with Rebellion. Bell to bell was outstanding. We're going to talk the countdown to Rebellion first. And it started, and again, I don't know how many times we say it, start the show hot. The countdown to Rebellion started with Leon Slater joining Bullet Club ABC for at least one match against the Rascals, Trey Miguel, Myron Reed, and Zachary Wentz. And six of the absolute best that TNA have got on offer here. This match was an amazing start to not even the paper. This wasn't even on the main card. Leon Slater is without a doubt one of the best talents, not just in the UK. He is, TNA are so fortunate to have him right now because he is going to blow up big time. Whether it's in the US or in the UK, he hit this unreal sort of 450 bomb off the top rope. You need to see it for them to win the match. But it was just amazing. There was so much great action in this. Really sort of culminated what TNA means. Total non-stop action. Just in that match alone. It was incredible. You need to just go check that out for a start. Rich Swann and AJ Francis First Class were together. They were joined by the Man Boy Mafia. The backstage interview and practically just said they were going to whoop the arse of Joe Hendry, which we'll see later. Now, the next match was a digital media championship match. It was Crazy Steve, the champion, versus Laredo Kid. And this match was really interesting. I think sometimes you kind of forget how good Crazy Steve actually is because of the gimmick that he portrays. And maybe that's not a fair reflection because when he's in the ring, he absolutely delivers some fantastic wrestling. And this against Laredo Kid was nothing short of that. However, Crazy Steve lost the Digital Media Championship to Laredo Kid via a Spanish fly. And this was a really good match. It was difficult because you come off of this amazing six-man and you gotta, the crowd are just sort of calming down a little bit after that. And you get this, which is a brilliant match on top of that. And you're like, okay, how can we calm down again? How can we calm down again? And it takes you backstage after that due to Steph Delanda going against Jordynne Grace for the Knockouts Championship. And Delanda was there, but she wasn't alone. Now, if you remember, Matt Cardona was scheduled to be in the corner of Steph Delanda, but he tore his pec. He's had surgery, and hopefully he'll be back on screens very soon. But she's hired some good hands, shall we say, to help in Jason Hodge and John Schuyler. There's going to be at her ringside for her match against Jordynne Grace. Speaking of knockouts, the next match was the tag team match. The final match of the pre-show or the countdown to Rebellion was Danny Luna, Jody Fret with Lars Frederiksen, the artist. They took on the Decay, Roseberry, and Havoc. A really good match again for this. Again, the knockouts division is so good. Danny Luna, can't wax lyrical enough about her. She's a champion over here in the UK. She's a champion over there in TNA. Her and Jody Fret form this really interesting team because sometimes when you pair two people together, whether they're men, women, or whatever, sometimes it just doesn't work. This just feels like it's working and it's right. And you get that, you do get that very rarely. You could point to people like the Bar and teams like that. Just two people that get thrown together and it just hits right. And these two did. They actually retained their tag team championships again with the torture rack into a sit-out spinebuster. So unfortunately, Decay have lost their return match that they were given. However, at the end of that match, Masha Slamovich and Alicia Edwards have had a stare down on the ramp with Spitfire. So interesting to see how that one goes. TNA Rebellion opened up with the X Division Championship match, Mustafa Ali versus Jake something. This was brilliant. A great way to open the show with your X Division, your most sort of enthralling, exciting match. Although when you look at the card, there is so many of those. So it wasn't, it was one of those ones where it was one of many great matches on the show. Mustafa Ali continues to show great ways to pick up wins in matches, albeit slightly, controversial in a set that a rope-assisted mousetrap pin managed to get the win under the ever-impressive Jake Summink. I mean, we spoke to Jake about this, and we sort of said, that you had lost 2 X Division title matches previously to this, and what makes this one different. And he's talking about learning and how he's learned through them. He's going to have to take another learning lesson on this one. Mustafa Ali, albeit, as I said, controversially, found a way of beating him with a top rope mouse or assisted rope mousetrap. Rope assisted mousetrap. We'll get it right in the end. And, he'll have to learn from that and take that forward. But I don't think that's going to be the last we see of Jake Summink going for championships. And I do think he'll eventually be successful. Ali picks up the win in a brilliant opening match. Really enjoyed it. It just showcases the talent pool right now that TNA have got as that opens the match. Second match on the card was Rich Swann and Joe Hendry. This was a bit weird, this one. Perfectly good in ring. There was a lot of stuff on the outside of the ring on this. Sean Merriman ended up practically turning, I suppose, on Joe Hendry by catching him with the burning lariat while AJ Francis distracted the ref. Swann took advantage of that and hit a 450 for the win. I don't think it's the last that we've seen of this feud. First Class have been together a while. They've not really yet kind of been here long enough to sort of say if they're going to be a great team or a good team, but they've certainly got Rich Swann of First Class certainly picked up a good win here over Joe Hendry via pinfall. But I think we're going to see more of this as the weeks go on TNA Impact. Now, third match on the card, you put Full Metal Mayhem, which is tables, ladders, and chairs, and Christ knows what else. Frankie Kazarian, Eric Young. I can't really wax lyrical about this enough. These 2 veterans just put on such a quality wrestling match as well, a quality fight, for want of a better phrase, really. But they're so very good at what they do that to have this match and to go everywhere and to use weapons, and this is a match with so many moving parts, and to do it really well, you really have to know your stuff. These 2 were absolutely brilliant in that. There were so many good spots to see in this, and I would definitely recommend going back and watching this. I'm going to probably watch it again later on because there was just so much good action that it's hard to pinpoint some parts of it that you really want to go and check out, but just check out the whole match. Now, Kazarian did get the victory with an avalanche flux capacitor through a table. That just gives you an idea of what this match was like. Crazy match, well put together, 2 brilliant minds in TNA wrestling, and put with the producer, whoever that was, put together a wonderful match. And kudos to them for doing it. Congratulations to Kaz. And we'll see what's next for these 2. I'm looking forward to seeing what's next to these 2 as well. But what an incredible encounter for TNA on their third match. Yeah, third match. You've already had some incredible action. That was their, you had the title match. You had, this match. It just shows this character of what TNA can really do. Nemeth was interviewed backstage. He promised to send TNA into a new era by picking up the victory over Moose in the main event. Now, lights out time. Macklin comes to the ring. He has been given a new contract for TNA that met all of his demands, but there was one more demand that he wanted, which was a match this evening. And Santino Marella appeared on the ramp and said, guess what? Your luck's in. You have a match tonight, because this star has also signed a TNA contract just before he was going out. And that man is the former 4-time TNA Tag Team Champion and AEW star, Mike Santana. Yes, Mike Santana is TNA. He had a match with Steve Macklin. And again, you look at this, we hadn't seen Santana in a while. There was obviously bits. He was in AEW, as everybody knows. Great tag, great singles wrestler as well. And this is something what I see about a lot of these tags now. Some tag teams are great as a team, but when you separate them, it doesn't really work. Santana is different to that. He's in a different mold. He works well as a single. He works well as a tag. You put him in the ring with Macklin, you're creating magic already. And that's exactly what TNA did here. Macklin is still a superstar. No matter what, he has had a great run in Impact. If he signed a new contract, that's even better for TNA and the fans of TNA. This match was great. Santana, you kind of predicted pick up the victory on this, which he did with a discus lariat. But the Mike Santana era in TNA wrestling is just beginning. Where will it take us? We will have to find out. But just as a prologue and a little bit of a spoiler, that wasn't the only surprise that TNA had up their sleeves this evening. So keep an eye on what we're going to talk about in a minute. There was a bit with the system. At the back, they confirmed that Slamovich wasn't a member of the system before Myers and Eddie Edwards promised to beat Speedball Mountain tonight. And that led us straight into this match. Speedball Mountain, Mike Bailey and Trent Seven versus the system, Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers. And again, we just spoke about, Santana being great as a single, great in a team. And Speedball Mountain is a prime example of two guys put together. And again, like we said earlier on with Danny Luna and Jody Fret, works. You've got the veteran of Trent Seven who can wrestle in a very different ways. He can do lucha. I mean, you look at him and you think, how can he do lucha? He can do some lucha. I've seen it. I've seen him with a mask on. He'll tell me that it wasn't him, but it was. I've seen him do lucha. I've seen him work in a variety difference of styles. And then you've got Speedball Bailey, who's the quick kicks and all of that put in between that. And them two work incredibly well together. On top of that, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers have both been in really successful tag teams. Obviously, Eddie Edwards is part of the Wolves, Brian Myers alongside Matt Cardona, for argument, as the Edgeheads or whatever you want to call them. They work. So they, again, two people that have been in a team that worked. Sometimes, again, when you put them together, it doesn't. But TNA have just either struck it really lucky with these guys because it absolutely does work. And it's proven works right here with these two teams. It was a great tag match for the Tag Team Championship. The Boston Knee Party roster cut combo gets the win for the system. So far this evening, the system have held all the gold and still hold pretty much all the gold, barring them. Pick men's gold. Let's give it that way. The men's gold. One of the matches that I was really looking forward to was next. The last man standing, Hammerstone, Alexander. The end of the trilogy of matches. Every match they've had. Yeah, there's had a bit of controversy in some, but it was every match they have been brilliant. And this match was, again, I go back to the earlier, the Full Metal Mayhem match, and I say to you then, there's too much good stuff to give you. Just go and watch the match. This one. Again, Alexander and Josh Hammerstone, they should be definitely in the running for the world title picture coming up. They had a brawl and a half. I think Alexander was busted open at one point during this match. It was a brilliant last man standing match. They gave it their absolute all. I'm going to use a British term. They kicked 7 bells of shit out of each other. Basically, that's the only way I could really give you this to what they've done. It was a brilliant match. Josh Alexander picked up the victory with a C4 on the ramp. Hammerstone was unable to answer the count of 10. So Josh picks up the victory. And you know what? It wouldn't have mattered who won that. It was so good. The loss would never have damaged either of them, but it was a brilliant match. And again, I think these two should be in line for world championships in TNA going forward, but we'll see. Now, if you remember over the last few weeks on Impact, we've had the Jonathan Gresham, vignettes where he's been in therapy, and he was now finishing the group therapy session. And it come across the voiceover. John is not himself when he speaks in person, but let him wear the mask and he becomes his true self. Gresham started coughing before the octopus confronted him. During the confrontation, the voiceover said the following: "There was a great king in Babylon who had a dream, but the visions of his heart terrified him. He remained submerged in the vision. He ran with the animals and he ate the field, but Babylon can be rebuilt. All that's needed is an axe." What on earth is going to happen when Jonathan Gresham comes back to TNA? I cannot wait. I'm hoping it's like coming up this week or whatever on Impact. I need to see what they mean by that. And Gresham channeling this. He's been hiding away from his former self. He needs to put that mask on to be himself. It's going to be such an interesting re-debut return for John Gresham. Now, Lights Out Part 2 is coming here. The Knockouts Championship match. Now, as you remember, Steph DeLander had Hotch and Skylar at ringside for her match against Jordynne Craigs. They all got involved in this, but it just wasn't them. What PCO come out and started trying to help Steph DeLander. That brought Con out and the Good Hands. They were all attacking Jordynne Grace after, a really good back and forth. Lights went out. When the lights come back on, Sami Callihan, yes, the Death Machine himself, Sami Callihan returns to TNA Wrestling. He attacked the Good Hands. He attacked Kong. He laid them out. He tossed Steph DeLander back into the ring, which allowed Jordynne Grace to catch her with the back fist before hitting the Made in Japan driver for the win. And oh god, sorry, I got literally in mid fall. That gave Jordynne Grace to retains the championship, but Sami Callihan is back in TNA Wrestling. Thank the Lord. He was during his last run. He was really one of the pinnacles of Impact Wrestling. So I'm so happy that he is back in TNA Wrestling, and congratulations also to Jordynne Grace for retaining against all odds. That's a pay-per-view for TNA, right? It kind of was against all odds for Jordynne Grace, but she absolutely nailed it on this one with a bit of help. But Steph DeLander was getting help as well. So is that the last we see of Steph DeLander? I hope not. I think just touching on Steph DeLander, she is someone who, a bit like Cardona, has taken this independent run by storm, and she's done fantastic with Matt. But I really think it's time that a company puts some money behind her. Not only gives her some money and signs her to a contract, but puts some money behind her, because she has got a lot of qualities that would make a great champion in wrestling. So I think TNA, if you're still looking for free agents, there's one right there. You just got to give her the Benjamins, as she would say, pay her the dollars and get her in. And I hope they do, because Steph's a wonderful talent, and I'm hoping that's not the last we see of Steph DeLander in TNA anyway. Main event time. Moose, he was with the System against Nick Nemeth. What a great man. What a great main event. Nick Nemeth never fails to disappoint. He is he is a talent and a half. He's still adjusting to the TNA way, TNA lifestyle, and doing what he does best. He's absolutely brilliant. Moose was a fine competitor for Nick to go against here for the championship match. Unfortunately for Nick Nemeth, he did come up a little bit short, albeit there was some interference, of course there was. Moose with a spear picks up the victory onto Nick Nemeth, which is a real shame. I was thinking I did say on the previous Impact reviews that I felt that it was probably too early in the reign of Moose for Nick to pick up the victory on this, but he nearly did. But he does take a good spear, doesn't he? Jeez. Moose levered him with a spear for that. Nick Nemeth sells moves great, and it was just fantastic. But we're going to say those two words again. Lights out. Music played in the background. The lights come back on. Well, no, sorry. Before the lights come back on, we heard the maniacal laugh of broken Matt Hardy. Yes, Matt Hardy was standing behind Moose. He hits him with a twist of fate as Rebellion goes off the air with Matt Hardy holding the TNA Heavyweight Championship. unbelievable way to end the show. What's next? I mean, I can't wait now. And Impact needs to be on today. I need to see what happens after this. It was a tremendous, tremendous pay-per-view. Moose retains, but now a cruel twist of fate for him sees him face to face with the broken one, Matt Hardy. Where does this go? It goes to Impact this week on AXS, on Sky, on DAZN, on the Impact Plus app, or on YouTube as well. If you're a premium subscriber of TNA, you can watch Impact on there. We will be reviewing Impact this week, so don't forget to catch that. Till next time, everybody, enjoy the day that is still probably the worst day of the week on Monday, but enjoy your Monday and take care. Good night or good day.